Welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. I'm feeling like a big crappy right at this moment. It's just one of those days, man. Actually, when did I? Yeah, I woke up at 7. Not that it really makes a difference, really. My sleeping pattern's been odd, as usual. Weekends tend to do that, you know. So, like, I've been trying to turn it around, like, slowly by, like, sleeping a few hours, and then, like, staying up a few hours, then sleeping for another few hours. And it's just been weird, because I haven't had, like, a full, proper night's sleep or anything. Or, in my case, usually I have to sleep in the mornings, but if I'm around the weekend, up in the day and all that, usually. But, long story short, I feel like shit, and the bird chirping and chirping is not helping my headache. Not much, I guess. Just looking forward to the afternoon, you. Hair ups and arm around my slumped shoulders, far too comfortably. Something's up. Let's step outside, shall we? God damn it, I was just like, freaking chastised myself for my pronunciation just mere minutes ago. It's like, oh man, that Japanese course I've been doing. Like, yeah, it's like, you know, a test for like the pronunciation and all that, which is kind of odd. I mean, it's not odd that it has that. What's odd about it is that you are the one to judge your own score. It's like, so how well was that pronunciation? And I'm like, just be like, oh, flawless. I actually judge it, you know, properly. I'm just like, nah, that sounded off. No points for that one. Terrible pronunciation. That one was okay, but I screwed up a bit of it. Passable. That one was alright. Oh, that was god-awful. What the fuck, man? If you're trying to speak to someone who actually knows Japanese, they just give you an odd look or some shit. That was terrible pronunciation. And yet, even with English, my first language, I still have trouble pronouncing words. It sucks. Let's step outside, shall we? I was just about to before you stopped me. He doesn't take my reaction to his theatrics well. Ignoring him, I walk inside and start down the steps. It doesn't take too long for him to catch up with me again. I wonder if he wants money, or to rant about another conspiracy. Maybe both. I've got a bone to pick with you. It's about that blonde. You know who I'm talking about. Conspiracy it is. For a moment I contemplate feigning ignorance, but realize this will go quicker if I just let him get it all out. Lilly, the one from your class? You're on first-name terms with her! He looks positively shocked at this development. Did he not expect me to be able to answer? He gallows himself and coughs into his fist, dramatically like everything he does. Well, never mind that. I'm here to warn you. You know, man to man. Warn me about what, Lilly? Yeah, you don't know her, man. It's mostly true. I've only known her and Hanako for less than 2 weeks, and even then we've just been exchanging a little chatter about school as we while away lunch. No, it is true. I mean, we've learned a bit here and there about Lilly, but really, out of all the characters, she's the one we know the least amount about, essentially. But that's because we haven't actually gone for a route till now. And I've never, as I've said a million times, exaggeration, but whatever, I have not actually played this route, so it's all new to me. I'm pretty sure you don't either. That's not the point. You're the one spending inordinate amounts of time with her. It distresses me that someone like Kenji, who's probably as far out of the loop as one could possibly get, knows about such trivial fact as who I chose to befriend. Then again, I am a transfer student, and she's not only the representative of the class, but also a tall blonde. Maybe I should appreciate the ranting as a warning that the rumor mill exists in the school, and that I'm firmly within it. It's just lunch, nothing special. Look, man, handle a bridge. See this bridge? You're under it. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do to go to get intel. I just want to make sure you don't end up too far under the bridge. You're losing me, Kenji. That's okay, lots of people get lost. That's why I'm here to help. Just be careful around her, okay? She looks all harmless on the outside, but I've heard shit. Bad shit. You know, student council, right? He seems to involuntarily shudder as he says the words. Putting him and Shizune together in a room is an amusing mental exercise. I wonder if they've met. Well, they have. Actually, yeah, they did, didn't they? Well, like, in Shizune's route, they did have a bit of an exchange where Kenji was just being his usual self. And Hisao was like, oh god, I can't translate this shit to Shizune. She'd be like, what the fuck? And then he did mention about that whole badge thing, but she didn't pay attention to him there. But they have met, just not formally, it seems. Yeah, Shizune and Misha are in my class. Seem to have dodged the raft, though. Good man, good man. And this blonde, she was there in the student council, right damn there. I see. And she's not there now. Seriously, think about it. Someone must have gone down. I stopped walking for a moment, giving the idea more thought than I probably should. It would explain that fight you had, at least in part. Wait, no, not really. Even leaving the student council would need a catalyst. In the end, it doesn't explain much at all, other than the fact that their feud goes back some ways. I guess you have a point. Not seeing how that really affects me, though. Okay, now feel this one. Lilly's foreign, obviously. Whatever. Obviously. Now, what nationality is she? Yep, I have to give the answer, but realize that I have none. In fact, I've given the matter very little thought. This feels weird, really, because we know a little about her anyway. We know she's from Scotland, but in this route, spoilers, he hasn't actually learnt that yet, technically, has he? Given that she has no accent and acts perfectly Japanese, I suppose it never really seemed important. I didn't mention it, though. I am rather curious. It's kind of like with me. I mean, I don't really seem to have much of an accent, or if I do have an accent, it's not like... it kind of like make people just be like, wait, what country are you from, man? Because I just... your accent, it sounds... like I've said, like, people have thought my accent sounds American. I've never even been to the United States. Or the North American continent, or pretty much any continent, really. I mean... like... would Ireland count? But that's just an... well, whatever. Pretty much, I'm Welsh, but I don't really have the kind of typical Welsh accent. I seem to have a jumbled accent of sorts. So if someone, like, were to know me but not know what country I'm from, they'd just be, like, trying to guess. It's like, which state are you from? It's like, state? Yeah, you must be from America, right? It's like, no. What? That's impossible. Then where are you from? The UK. It's like, then which part of the UK? Oh, fuck, there's a lot of accents there. Ah, fuck. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Maybe English. They like tea. It's always about tea and crumpets and all that posh shit. Not really, but there are a number of people that do actually like tea and all that. But it's not quite like the whole posh kind of thing. I mean, like, That's one thing I always imagine, like, say an American tourist coming to the UK, it's like expecting, like, loads of fancy posh people with all that, oh, yes, posh accents, and then, like, encountering chavs or something like that. You're just like, oh, you fucking what, mate? It's like, oh, it's like the memes, man, I should have been paying attention to those. So that is what the UK is all like, is it? Just a bunch of people talking like this weird way? I thought they were talking in a posh way. Nah, that's just a queen, mate. She's a fucking bitch or something. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. Well, like, it's completely different. Like, it tends to be portrayed in fiction, isn't it? It's like, all posh accents. No, definitely not. I probably shouldn't resort to stereotypes, but that's the only lead I have. She's Scottish. I wonder what she would sound like with a Scottish accent. Well, she'd have a Scottish accent, that's how she'd sound. I'm the one giving her a voice. I don't really give her an accent, do I? You're not thinking. Luckily you have me here to think for you. Gee, thanks. He brushes up the quip effortlessly. Answer me this. Who has lots of social power? Is filthy, stinging rich? You know blondes are all rich, right? Has a long history of disputes and used to belong to a much larger organization. The Roman Catholic Church? Well, okay, there's that. But there's also the mafia. Come on, rich, foreign. There's no way she doesn't have connections to them. Like, You know, Kenji is like, if you took people on the internet that take everything as a conspiracy theory and made it into a character, that is Kenji right there. I have reason to doubt the logic of his deductions, but he shows no sign of stopping. So, do you know where I think she's from? Italy. Mainland Italy, small time, dude. She has to be from Sicily. All those Mafia types come from there. Wait, no, Russia. Damn, this could be bad. Mafia there, serious business, man. Ex-KGB everywhere. Paramilitaries, hardcore smuggling, and... Wait, stop. Just slow down a sec. What point are you trying to get at here? You don't know what you'll do, man. I won't get in your way. Agents don't operate like that. But I just want you to be careful. We know she's from Scotland, but, you know, the idea that she might be from, like, say, Italy or Russia seems plausible. When the time comes, we'll need all the help we can get. I don't want to lose you, comrade. Well, at least he's concerned for me. Kinda. I wave goodbye to him as we separate out to our respective classes, but I'm not sure that he sees the gesture. No, I find odd is that this scene is called a pound sterling. I mean, that's a big hint right there, isn't it? It's like, she's from the UK. But where in the UK? Before I look my books into my bag, I catch a glimpse of the library books I borrowed last week. I might as well return them, considering they all took all of 2 days to finish. I'd bravely consider inviting Hanako along to the library, but she's already gone. It'll probably be better for my studying if I'm alone anyway. With a quick stretch and a wave to a couple of classmates who give the same to me, I make my way out of the classroom. As I open my bag and shove the books through the return slot in the front counter, I notice a strange person behind the desk. Old and greying, she must be Yuko's replacement when she's working at the cafe. What? I begin looking for a free table, a task made somewhat difficult considering that despite there not being many students in here, they're all sitting at their own tables. Noticing a familiar head of hair, I walk over to one near the braille section. So who's the freaking woman with the grey hair? Is she not going to get a character portrait or what? It's hard to tell whether Lilly is concentrating hard or not, her blessed expression holding perfectly still as her finger slides across the dot-filled pages of her book. Hi, mind if I sit here? Oh, no problem at all. She trails off, evidently still focused on her business at hand. You know, imagine if she had a strong Scottish accent. I don't really know, man. When I do accents, I just, don't even know, man. I just, when I try to do a Scottish accent, it's like, am I doing a Scottish accent or an Irish accent here? I have no idea. But I only do the kind of stereotypical kind of Scottish accent, like, alright, man, I've got it, it's a bloody accent, you can barely understand a bloody what I'm saying, and just, you know, you have to have lines to say before you can actually talk like this, because you can't think of fucking thing to say. Hisao. Yeah, she has a man's voice. Well, technically she does, because I'm voice actor, but bloody hell, voice actor normally, because I cannot do a female accent like that. That's probably not even a Scottish accent. I don't know. That's the thing with accents. They different everywhere. It's not like you can be like when they talk about English accent. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's like, there's no one accent for just a whole country. It's like, they say, oh, an American accent. It's like, yeah, there's a variety of different accents, you know. It's a big country. And, you've got a small country like the UK, joined up with countries and all that shit. You got a shit ton of accents spread out around it. And it's just, boggles the mind. Ah, Hisao. She gives a nod of greeting as I sit opposite her at the table, pluck a chemistry textbook out of my bag and quickly thumb to the chapter we're covering in class. For a while we sit there and read, each in our own way. Seeing her reminds me of what Kenji said this morning, though. That and the fact that I've never seen someone read in Braille before makes me keep throwing glances at her. I kind of feel guilty about it, given that she has no way to realize I'm doing so I decided to just ask her about it. Her lineage isn't exactly a state secret after all, and there's another thing I've only just noticed from her movements. Hey, Lilly, mind if I ask you a question? Not at all. Is anything wrong? I was just wondering, at least part foreign, right? She gives a small giggle before setting down her book.
I've always been amused at how squeamish people are about that. Ikra has mentioned how much he and I look different from most others before. The details are a bit complicated, but I'm half Japanese, half Scottish.
Scottish? That was not exactly my first guess. It takes some effort to not blurt it out loud. I'd rather conjure images of a place in my mind. I think as far as the UK goes, Scotland isn't bad to live in, but I'm not really sure. Is it Glasgow that's, like, notorious for, like, being kind of, not so pleasant to live in because of all the violence and all that, drunks and I don't know. I've never been! But just always when I hear of Scotland, I think it's Glasgow. That always comes up when it comes to like all that kind of stuff. Never been to Scotland though. My sister has. My sister seems to what's the word? Well, I guess love Scotland, I guess. I'm not really sure. My first guess of England was surprisingly close, at least geographically. It does leave another question, though. That does leave another question in that if she was one of those type of Scots that hates the English, making them say like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kick your head in, you twat!" It's like, "Fuck you!" What the fuck? That was like partly going Scottish and then Russian or some shit there. See what I mean with my accent? I cannot freaking tell what accent I'm doing. But yeah, that's one thing that kind of like, it's be like, the UK was formed like, I can't even remember when the UK was actually formed, like the date, I'm not sure what it is, but it's been hundreds of years. Like, started with England, just being like, hey, Wales, hi, how you doing? We're gonna take over your country, and they're like, what? Yep. Okay, we got this country under care now. Okay, let's head north, Scotland, you're next, and I don't know. Eventually, it just like, I guess it just like, I forget how it went. But whatever, the UK was formed, and because of the history of it all, it didn't exactly form on the best terms where everyone's all like peachy keen, and it seems to have carried on into the modern day, even though it doesn't really make sense to still have that, but there's still a bit of that rivalry thing going on and all that, where it's like, more like what we call banter, I guess, although some are a bit more extreme of it, I don't know. Either way it goes, if like you were to say that to someone who's Scottish, that's like you thought they were English, they might just laugh it off or they'll get pissed off at you. One of the two, probably, I don't know. Probably be the same with Welsh as well, because same thing there. Or maybe, yeah, same with Irish probably as well, actually. That's the only thing about the UK. It's just like, the only united thing about the UK really seems to be is that Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland can all agree that they dislike England, or London to be exact, mostly. I mean, what's up with that? I don't really dislike England or London. I just hate the politicians that run the shithole. Well, I worded that wrong. The shithead politicians, not the shithole, what? I've barely even been to England. I wonder, like, must be like, just, I don't know. It's like, I always hear, like, London this, London that, that's probably, it's just like, oh, god damn it, whenever it comes to the UK, it's always like, London this and London that, politicians corrupt and screwing everyone over but London. Oh, my precious London, fuck you! That's probably what pisses off most people, even in England. I don't know, but anyways, I'm rambling a lot. But you have no accents.
That's where the details begin. I was born and raised in Japan, despite my mother being foreign.
Ah, I get it. Hold on, if she moved to the dorm simply due to Akira working longer hours, so they don't live near the school? She gives a small sigh, as if she didn't expect me to go any deeper. Was her previous frankness just a front?
Not exactly. It's been a long time since we've actually met.
I feel like I'm not getting the whole story, but I don't really want to go unduly prying into her situation. Her about face shows she feels kind of awkward about it. So, do you speak much English? To be honest, I don't know that much about Scotland, but at least I know that's the main language there. Is it Gaelic? I think it's pronounced as. Though I'm not sure how many people would actually speak that language. It takes her a moment to collect herself, appreciating the change in topic.
That's right, my family mostly used Japanese around the house when I was young, but they made sure Akira and I knew our Scottish side just as well. I'm fluent in the language, but I'm also studying it in school to keep my skills up and to have the qualifications on paper mainly.
You know, studying Japanese, I've noticed, like, in the romanji where it's kind of written out like this essentially, there's never any L's. No L's in the alphabet whatsoever. So, with that in mind, it makes perfect sense why they never pronounce an L, or at least have trouble. You know, when, like, someone who's Japanese tries to speak English and they try to say a word that has an L in it and it just doesn't sound right. Like, it just, like, say la, for example, they would say ra. No, la, ra, la, it's la, L, A, la, ra. God damn it, it's just one new freaking letter. Just like, well, you couldn't pronounce two for so long, so fuck you too. There's some words that just, like, really confuse me. Like, for example, like, they've gone I, but it's pronounced like E. It's really weird. But I can see how it would be a pain in the ass for someone who's, you know, grown up learning Japanese and then have a bit of learning English on the side, like as a secondary language, would be a pain in the ass to get used to. But anyways, so you're bilingual? That's pretty impressive.
I wouldn't go that far. Having parents who can speak the language is a large advantage, and English books and brailles aren't too hard to buy or import, with Yuko's help at least. There's a relatively high demand for local English teachers here anyway, which also helps give me some motivation to learn it well.
Demand for English teachers? For a moment, I wonder why she brought this up. Can you imagine me as an English teacher in Japan with my pronunciation skills? I feel like I've been corrected by someone in class, just like, this is your second language, it's my first language, and you're correcting me on the pronunciation. And the thing is, you're correct. I pronounced that completely wrong. Like, remember freaking sirloin? For years I pronounced it as cerulean. How the fuck does that even make sense? But really, it does come down to me not really paying attention to the damn word spelling. It's like, I'll say the word without even looking for it. Like, I say that, teachers. I mean, that's not really a good example because I'd say that anyway. But it's like I don't really look at the spelling to kind of, you know, give me the hint as to how it's pronounced. So I really boggles my mind when I come up with some completely wrong pronunciations that make absolutely no sense. Demand for English teachers. For a moment I wonder why she brought this up. You plan to be an English teacher? She gives an enthusiastic nod. It must be nice having such a definite future in mind. I've never really given much thought to mine, so I'm kind of envious.
What's wrong?
It's just, I could see you as a teacher pretty easily. Suits you. For a moment, she's speechless. Oh, I don't think we've seen her blush like that before. She lowers her face a little and lets out a nervous giggle, something I've never seen her do before. With Lilly's role as a class representative and her dependable nature, teaching does seem to be a line of work fitting her personality. Sorry, that was, probably a little much. It's true, though. Waving her hand in front of her face dismissively, she quickly recovers.
It's not that, it's just that only one person's ever said that to me before.
A short, somewhat awkward silence follows the discussion. Not knowing it, I end up steering into a troublesome topic again. I should try to cheer up a little. It was me who went and got her brooding, after all. Want to go grab lunch at the cafeteria after this? I might perk her up a bit, or at least take her mind off her apparently complicated family situation. No, I just had a thought. Like, romanji, right, is like, kind of like the Japanese language written out kind of like this, essentially, right? Instead of as characters. do the Japanese, actually learn that as well as all the other forms of language? Because if so, wouldn't that in some way potentially help when learning English? Because, like, if you just, like, were to grow up just, like, with the characters and all that instead of the Romanji as well, wouldn't it be, like, even more of a big shift? Actually, let me check my notes here. Wait, actually, no. I think Romanji does have a H. Yeah, it does have a H. Never mind on that. There's this one character. What's the character for? It's for It's pronounced but when it's ever used, it tends to not be pronounced at all. But I call it fancy H because it looks like a H, only fancy. There's another H that's like a capital H that is also fancy looking, which is me. And anyway, to the point, where is it? There's one that kind of looks like a fishing hook, but I just can imagine, like, explaining to someone who's learning Japanese, just like, oh, the character for she? Well, that is what the letter L looks like, except don't curve it too much to make it look like a fishing hook. Kind of like this. It's kind of like that, essentially, but this explanation would make no sense, actually. But there is one that literally does look like a fishing hook. And honestly, when I have to freaking write down the characters, I'm kind of relieved whenever I see that, because it's so easy to just put in. It's like, okay, fishing hook. Or you just be like, oh, paperclip, what's the paperclip actually mean? E. There's another one, re. Those are easy. And then you got the pain in the ass ones to draw, like the pretzel ones always give me trouble, which is met. That one is one of those, and why am I doing this anyway? Blah, blah, blah. New is also a freaking pain in the ass one. I should memorize these, man, but I've already really memorized a few of the characters. But anyways, enough of that. What did I even bring that for? Oh yeah, to compare, like, just like, oh, so if you learn that, just look at the character for, was it Chi? Whatever it was, that looks like a fishing hook. Only the curve at the bottom, just kind of like, if you just flatten it and just go to the side, that's a capital L. And if you want to just do an ordinary L, just leave that bit off and just draw a line down. And then it's like, okay, whatever. It might perk her up a bit, or at least take her mind off a apparently complicated family situation. Going by her smile, it seems to have the intended effects.
I appreciate the thought, but the food there.
Quite a quick redirection of the conversation. She does have a point, though. The food there isn't the greatest. Maybe it's Shanghai. We could ask Hanako if she wants to come as well.
Ah.
What is it?
I almost forgot until you remind me. Hanako's birthday is coming up soon, and I was going to go shopping in the city for a present tomorrow.
If that's an invitation, I'd be happy to accompany you. The ability to get more used to the layout of the city would probably be a good thing. I've barely set foot in there, so I'd be completely lost by myself. Oh yeah, it is is it like a small city, or is it a town, a small town, large town? The freaking school seems to be located on a hill, then they go into a town, but it seems more like a village. It just confused me with this shit, honestly, to be honest. It's like, it's the same in video games and all that, where they're just like, oh, this is a town, and then suddenly be saying, this is a city. It looks like a freaking village, man. It's not big enough to be a town or a city. Or are towns, like, I have no idea. Like, there's some villages that are literally so short, so small, that you can just drive past the road, and that's the whole thing. But then there are villages like the one I live in, which are kind of big-ish. But they're not like, big enough to be a town, but they are pretty big. So it blows my mind when something smaller than that gets called a town, or about the same size as that called a town. It just, why? And then they go, oh no, it's a city actually. It's like, it's not big enough to be a city, god damn it! I don't know, it just bugs me. She gives a nod, signaling that she happily approves of this plan for Sunday. Sunday's already gone, though it's Monday. Eventually get back to our books, though before I begin reading again, I steal one last glance at her. Maybe I've been thinking on my situation too much. After all, everybody here would have their own unique circumstances, I mean. The chance to get outside and clear my head will probably do me good. Put an end to this rambling that's just going nowhere. Really, that bugs me. That must be Show and that must be Joe, but I don't really know. Did that just rhyme?